Doug Drysdale, CEO of Cybin.
Hey Jason, good to see you.
Good to see you. Welcome to Wonderland.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Nice to see you in person.
Yes. Last time we spoke was virtually. You were a bit under the weather, if I remember.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So it was last year's Wonderland that you guys kind of made. You had a big kind of press release, press conference talking about 003 switching to your kind of primary program. So it's been a year since then. News, updates on 003?
Yeah, wow, it's been a year already.
Exactly.
That's incredible, yeah. So you're right, it was only this time last year that we announced that we were prioritizing CYB3 because we had some great preclinical data. We were showing preclinically that CYB3 had a faster onset and a much shorter duration than psilocybin, so that got us really excited. Fast forward a year later, and we're already in the clinic.
Yes.
So we're running a depression study. Patients with moderate to severe depression, 32 patients. It started dosing back in August, so that's great, it's already up and running. We're adding some more sites to that as well to beef it up. So we should have PK data by, I would say, January, and then we'll get to see for the first time in humans if it really is faster and shorter. We have all that animal data, now this is the first time I have human data.
This would be considered a second generation compound?
Yeah, it's an analog of psilocybin. So we've retained the underlying core of the molecule. Didn't want to mess with receptor binding patterns. You don't want to add any more side effects. You don't want to change the efficacy. But we just modified non-core parts of the molecule to improve bioavailability and brain penetration. So essentially, we're just making it more efficient at getting to the site of action. So in and out faster, basically. Right. So we'll see in January whether that's...
This is a phase 1/2A.
It's a phase 1/2A.
This would be the phase 1 portion of it?
This early cohorts will be the phase 1 part of it. Yeah, okay. The dosing part, that's right.
And I guess this is the most advanced psilocybin analog in the industry right now in terms of in trial.
I think it's the first psilocybin analog, first modified psilocybin that's in human studies, yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
And that's I guess that's a good segue to a question around patents and IP protection. Does this kind of novel candidate provide you with a more secure IP strategy?
I mean, you have to have that, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, nobody wants patents for patent's sake.
Yes.
We started out with the goal of improving the patient experience, and that has led to molecule changes, and that leads to patents. So yeah, we have access now to 35 patents between our own that we've filed, about 20 of our own, 15 that we've licensed that give us access to probably trillions of potential molecules, quite frankly, with all the permutations. And the first one has been issued and granted for our DMT analog, which gives that one protection out to 2041. So patents are important. Without that, it's hard to get an ROI.
Yes, no, definitely. So the 004 patent that was granted, that was like for a new chemical entity?
It's a new chemical entity. In fact, that patent covers not just that molecule, but a number of other analogs of DMT and 5-MeO DMT as well. So it has a number of molecules in it.
That's substantial. Yes.
It is.
So for the 003, there's no specific patent granted right now? You have some applications?
That's true. We have a number of applications. We have a whole family of patents around 003.
Right.
And, it's not just about the molecule, it's about all the other aspects as well. I mean, as we are learning more about these molecules, their chemistry, their metabolism, the PK and PD data, all of that goes into the patents too.
Right.
So as that's happening, we're continuing to add data to the patents. So they'll issue at some point, but likely a number of continuances as we add data to them.
So as you get data, does that beef up your case for a patent? Is that how it works?
It does, and you also have to enable your claims, right? So the patents get written, and they're somewhat prophetic in that we're assuming from our own research certain properties. Based upon early studies, and as we do more studies, we're proving and enabling those claims. So that goes into the patents.
Got it. So I mean, there's some sort of like impatience in the industry. I'm noticing a lot around retail investors where they're impatient to have kind of like, here's a patent, and they want to see it right now, and if they don't see it right away, the buzz starts to happen. But we're seeing here that it's maybe more of it's a longer process. you got to have some patience before the IP strategy is fully formed.
That's true, and also there are some advantages for not revealing everything right away.
Yes.
So as we file some of those claims, we don't necessarily want to give away what we're working on. And so as over time, as we're adding data to them,
yes,
we're proving it, and that makes the whole case stronger. But of course, if we make all of that public in the beginning, you end up with 6 other people doing it tomorrow.
Yes.
So there's some competitive advantages to that as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So on CYB004, anything else you want to mention? I mean, we know it's a DMT analog, but how does it compare? I don't know, for example, to small pharma's work or other people in the space? Is there some differentiator there? Or?
Yeah, so what we've done with CYB4 is we've selectively substituted certain hydrogen atoms on the molecule with deuterium, and we've deuterated the molecule.
Yeah.
Now you can deuterate at many different places on the molecule, lots of different permutations.
Right.
So in our research, we did that and formed many different molecules, different deuterated forms, and we tested them all against each other. And we picked one that we thought had the best properties. And we've shown preclinically that we're able to extend the half-life of DMT by 3-fold with that deuteration. So instead of a 5 or 10 minute experience, it could be a 20, 30 minute experience.
So theoretically would allow for more effect?
More time in that therapeutic space.
Right.
We felt that 5 or 10 minutes perhaps wasn't enough. And the very aggressive onset can be quite disorienting for patients as well. So we've chosen a very specific molecule for this. What we're doing right now is we're running a DMT study, a non-deuterated study, a DMT study in the Netherlands. It's 50 volunteers. We're about 4/5 of the way through that. And we're learning a lot about dosing dynamics. So DMT is broken down really quickly in the body. So if you give an injection of DMT, the levels drop off really fast. If you're giving an infusion, you have to keep up with the breakdown of the molecule. So it's a case of giving a bolus, an infusion, figuring out what that bolus is, over what duration, what the rate of infusion is, how to get someone into the DMT space and keep them there.
Right.
So this is all of that we're learning from this study, and it'll translate directly to CYB4 because pharmacologically CYB4 and DMT are very similar.
Got it. I wonder if am I misremembering, but you purchased phase 1 trial?
We did. We acquired it from Entheon, Entheon Biomedical. That accelerated our program enormously. We said 9 months. I think maybe even a little faster because I think we're going to see this data help us transition to human dosing for CYB4 much faster than we would have done without the study.
Yeah, that could be a nice acquisition. So CYB4, do we have some update me on the timeline for 04?
Yeah, so I think we're planning right now to have the last subjects dosed around November. So we should have data in the first quarter of next year. We're learning though a lot about the study, and we have opportunities to add to it potentially. So we're looking at that right now. Can we add? Can we extend? Because each time you have a new clinical trial application, it's a whole new package all over again. There may be opportunities here for us to extend, but the current plan is November, finish dosing, data first quarter.
So it seems as if, those are your two main candidate drugs, and both of them seem to be entities that the markets would like. You have a novel psilocybin, shorter duration, which is an issue in terms of scalability in the psilocybin. So you're on the right path there. And then you have DMT, which is something that also Wall Street kind of likes, because also for scalability. So both of your programs have commercial potential that maybe shows up well against some others.
I think so too. I mean, when you compare, say, psilocybin or DMT or an LSD session, which might be 8 or 10 hours, and and then you look at our DMT molecule, which might be 30 minutes. That's a lot of patients that we're adding into the system, into the pipeline, right? So better throughput for sure. But these are also quite different molecules.
Yes.
A psilocybin experience is very different to a DMT experience. And it may be that for some conditions, maybe like anxiety disorders, that the shorter experience is sufficient. It may be for more ingrained depression,
Yeah.
that a longer experience with our psilocybin analog might be beneficial. We really don't know yet until we start to get that clinical experience. What we're trying to do is come up with options for physicians so they can choose and put the right one to the right patient.
Yeah, but intuitively that does make sense. Great. So anything else around your IP position that you'd like to say? I mean, you mentioned 35 patent applications. Granted, you've got a handful. You mentioned something else. Recently you acquired some IP from...
We did. We licensed some IP from Mindset.
Okay.
It's a group of tryptamine-related compounds. I think within that space, it gives us a lot of potential. We also have licensed some other IP from other sources. So collectively, between our own and this Mindset IP, we have access to trillions of different molecules. And our goal is to not only work on these, what I call second generation psilocybin and DMT, but beyond that, there's opportunity to improve further. And so from that big pipeline, we think we'll have further programs over the next few months that we may be able to announce.
Right. So that's kind of work that Mindset is doing in the lab already, and you'll have access to those compounds? Is that it?
It's essentially they've generated the IP, and with their IP and other IP that we have, we'll do the work ourselves, the chemistry, and we'll choose the right. Well, it takes a lot of screening to go through that many different molecules.
So you have access to the library, and you're going to pull some stuff?
Exactly.
Okay.
Of course, this is a virtual theoretical library, and we will create a physical library.
Got it.
As we narrow down the candidates.
Got it. All right. So yeah, Cybin is kind of slow and steady, and you guys are kind of always right there. And there's a lot of kind of ups and downs in the space right now, and a lot of companies are kind of riding roller coasters, and you guys are kind of coasting. Cash, you guys are all right for now?
Yeah, we are. So we've reported June 30th. We had about a year of cash on the balance sheet. We also have an active ATM running right now, an at-the-market offering.
Yes.
That enables us to issue shares into the market and raise more cash on an ad hoc basis.
But when's the last time you've done a raise? It's been a little bit.
It's been a while since we've done a raise.
Yes.
Exactly. So right now the market is pretty tough for raising capital. It's possible, but expensive.
Yes.
The ATM, because it's at the market pricing, less expensive. No discounts, no warrants, and that's good for shareholders. We think that's a really good cost of capital right now.
Except that the market prices are kind of...
They are what they are.
Yeah. So we're waiting for a little kick.
Yeah, I think we saw a bit of an uptick in August.
For like a minute.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
It's come down again. These are still speculative stocks. This is drug development.
Yeah.
So when the macro environment's panicking a little bit, these kinds of stocks get impacted.
Yes.
But I think as we start to see more visibility from the Fed on interest rates, more of a runway, it seems to me that a lot of the downside is priced into the markets right now, and you hope that as we get maybe through the midterms and a bit more visibility from the Fed, that things might stabilize a bit.
Yeah.
We'll see. We can't control the macro.
No, we can't. It seems like we're floating. We've hit the bottom and we're floating. I think we're just waiting. We're waiting to get out.
I'm not going to call the bottom, but
no, it's true. No, you're right. I retract that statement. It's not financial advice. Okay, Doug. Awesome.
Nice to see you, Jason.
Yeah.
Thanks
next year.
very much.
Another one next year.
Let's do that.
All right. Okay. Cool.